Hello and welcome to episode 54 of the Dynamo Football Book Club. My name's Alistair Bond. I'm joined by my co-host, Johnny Coughlin. Johnny, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Al. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well. Thank you very much, Johnny. This week, our book is How Not to Be a Football Millionaire by Keith Gillespie.
Keith Gillespie. Still. Oh! A goal of real class.
Johnny, if they were going to do a Keith Gillespie lookalike competition, you'd be in the top 100.
Yeah, I would. I've been told I look like Keith Gillespie. Do you know who I get regularly these days? What, regularly? To the extent that people say you look like anyone. David Tennant.
Ah, you see, you're going down in the attractive stage. You started off at George Best, then Keith Gillespie, now you're David Tennant.
Yeah.
Who's he going to be 10 years from now?
It's becoming beakier. I'm getting beakier and beakier. I do get less George Best than I used to.
I never saw it. I get, what's his name? Liam Neeson, all the time, I'll take it. Fuck you. I get it all the time, Johnny, so I don't care what you say. I do look like Liam Neeson. Or maybe I just look like a man of honour, like Oscar Schindler. Comes across. Or a man of action, like the bloke from Taken, whatever his fucking name is.
Well, he had that funny turn in his career, didn't he? Just started doing action movies for the last 20 years. He's in the Naked Gun series now.
Yeah, I'm not watching that. I mean, he's not a funny man, is he? He's thinking, oh, laughs ahoy. Here he comes, Liam Neeson. Anyway, let's not get distracted.
Okay.
On the cover of this book, How Not to Be a Football Millionaire, Keith Gillespie looks like he's in the Stone Roses. Did you listen to it or did you read it, Johnny?
I had to read it.
It wasn't a difficult read, in fairness, was it? It really wasn't. I sent you a text on Friday saying, I think even on Saturday, I've not even started this book, and I had it finished comfortably by now, Tuesday afternoon, folks.
The cover of the book is just his face, right? And I held it up to my face, to my daughter.
I'm doing it now. Yeah, I don't know. He's got a really Ian Brown vibe. He just needs a bucket hat on, and I think he looked, very much.
Have you seen Ian Brown recently, by the way?
Yes, I have, yeah. Yeah, because he was at, Manny's funeral recently.
It was, yeah, exactly. The picture from Manny's funeral. A friend sent a picture of it and he said he looks like he's just returned from Middle Earth.
They all do. All the lads carrying the coffin, Manny's coffin. It was like, fucking hell, look at you lads.
Just
on fat though. Yeah, so well done, rock stars, for never getting fat.
Do you remember the TV show Peep Show? Obviously.
Yes.
So my brother-in-law Jack, he has a theory, and I had a question for you all. So his theory is that in every relationship you have in your life, romantic relationship, friendships, whatever, work relationships, you are a Mark or a Jez in each relationship, but you might be a Mark in one relationship and a Jez in the next. So vaguely, I suppose, Mark is the one who's slightly more responsible and a little bit more fascist, and then Jez is the more irresponsible. Who would you say, Al, in our relationship?
Well, I'm Jez all day, Of course I am. You're Mark, you fucking square nerd. Of course you are. That's not even a question. Of course not. But that's absolutely true, isn't it? In other relationships, I am very much a Mark. I think my friends from back home, I was always the Mark. Oh, settle down, lads. Calm down. But then I went out to Cambodia and I was the Jez. I felt that. I'm either the square one in a group or the wildest one.
Yeah. It's a good theory. Well done, Jack. Anyway, okay. Keith Gillespie. This book was recommended to me by one Dominic Coughlin, my dad. Thank you very much, Dad.
Your old man really gave me my first ever taste for whiskey. So he sort of was like the man who first gave Keith Gillespie a little slip to take down to the betting shop. That was me. And that's where I end up now. I think the first time I ever owned a bottle of Jameson, your old man bought it for me for my birthday.
Oh, go on.
So, yeah, I think so.
That's interesting. Still haven't gotten to the bottom of that bottle of whiskey.
I got to the bottom of it within hours.
What did you know about Keith Gillespie? I'm going to ask you.
Well, I thought he was absolutely shit hot at football, but he wasn't, was he? That's what I always thought, like, you said to me, Keith Gillespie, I was like, this kid, amazing, like George Best, but he really wasn't. Not at all. I think I knew about the gambling. I've read this book before, like 10 years ago, but I didn't remember anything about it because there's nothing memorable. But at all, right? But yeah, I mean, I thought he was a pretty decent footballer, but from reading this book, not so much. I mean, obviously he's one of your islanders, Johnny. I'm being careful here. I mean, what do you think about Keith Gillespie?
Well, yeah. So he obviously he's a class of '92 fella, and he went as part of the Andy Cole transfer to Newcastle. He was very much someone I was acutely aware of. And he says at one point that it might surprise people to know that while I'm mostly associated with Manchester United and Newcastle, my longest stint at any club was at Blackburn. People don't really seem to remember that. It's because people had forgotten him, isn't it? He kind of started well and his career petered out. And I enjoyed this book, but Keith Gillespie is an asshole.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. Yes. All right. So this is what I wanted to say right from the get-go. So this book is called How Not to Be a Football Millionaire. And in it, Keith Gillespie poses the question, how can a man who knows the origin of the saying, Bob's your uncle, lose £10 million? That's what... He's like, I'm a smart bloke. This is like chapter 1. He's like, I'm a smart fella. I know the origin of the phrase, Bob's your uncle. How did I lose £10 million? Like, that's how you decide what intelligence is now. Like,
but it wasn't a gambling. It wasn't the gambling that made him lose the money, because that's what I believed to be the case. He is just such a spoiled. He's such a spoiled individual. Like he really epitomizes the spoiled footballer. And as his career went on, and he found himself in, smaller clubs with more, a lesser role, he just seemed to have an issue with everyone. I think he just thought he was above everyone as his career went on. Oh, I had a problem with Laurie Sanchez. Of course you did. Oh, I had a problem with Nigel Worthington. Of course you did. He was problematic everywhere he went, I felt. What do you reckon?
Well, absolutely right. Yeah, we do a list of, we often do this, a list of people that the autobiography guy hates. The autobiography guy. Oh, language is my tool, Johnny. The author. Yeah, we often have a list of people that the author hates. And in this case, it is every single football manager he ever had, apart from Alex Ferguson and Kevin Keegan. Right? Yeah. All of them. Like Souness, oh, he's so vain. Oh, the idiot. Oh, he wanted us to take football seriously. And what's the worst thing you can say what's the worst thing you could ever say to Keith Gillespie? It's like, if you don't win this game, you're not going to go out tonight. What the fuck? How fucking dare you cunt? Look, this fucking man has the fucking audacity to tell me I can't go out drinking after a game of football. Any manager who suggests to him, maybe you shouldn't go out for a drink tonight, well, that's beyond the pale. Everyone agreed with me, so they did. It's wild. Yeah, he has a real problem with authority. And man, he makes stupid mistake after stupid mistake. I mean, it's all his own fault. Yeah, he's skint because he's a fucking dickhead.
Yeah, well, that's it. He gave all his money to some friend of his, and he was just signing paper after paper. And the guy was essentially, I guess, embezzling his money, wasn't he? And it's hard to feel sorry for Gillespie. I was wondering, again, I've said this to you before. I think it came up in the Fowler book. I felt about this with the Owen book. You want these lads to be candid. And then when they are, you're like, why are you being so candid, Keith? Nobody's going to like you. Stop. Like, I just don't understand. Like as you said, he's a smart guy. Did he read this book? Did he read his own book? It's written by an Irish journalist, Daniel MacDonald. He would have, he's got like good standing. Like he's a good football journalist. He would write about the League of Ireland, but he would write about the national team and stuff like that. Like he's a good journalist, a good football journalist,
and also a singer. Housewife's favourite, right? Daniel O'Donnell. So he's got it
Daniel-
covered in Ireland, this lad, hasn't he?
I
Like,
think it's Daniel McDonnell. What did I say? Daniel
no, you
O'Donnell.
did say Daniel McDonnell.
That would be
But-
quite a turn for Daniel O'Donnell to write Keith Gillespie's autobiography.
Yeah.
But come on, let's just talk about Keith and his life. So as you say,
spoiltness.
his spoiltness. But as you say, he's from the island of Ireland. He's from the north of Ireland. He's from the Protestant side of Northern Ireland. But he does say that I didn't realise that quite so many of the Northern Ireland football team, the national team, that is, were Catholic. I always was under the impression. I always believed that most of the Catholic lads didn't play for Northern Ireland. But he names a whole bunch of them: Jerry Taggart and Jimmy Quinn. These fellas were Catholic. I had no idea about that. But anyway, he's from the Protestant side of.
Jerry Taggart doesn't always act like a religious man, does he? Like in this book, we'll get to that later in his pop sandwich.
Yeah, there's a few things in this book. But yeah, Alice, the sexiest book I think we've had.
Yeah, it was quite sexy. And I think this leads us on very nicely. Keith Gillespie was like the young George Best, right? That's what the Northern Irish papers, he's going to be the next George Best. And there's that very, very famous story about George Best. Dave Waiter goes up to his room and he's drinking champagne with Miss World. And the bellboy goes up and say, George, where did it all go wrong? And he sort of has that equivalent, doesn't he, Keith Gillespie? But the woman that he's romping with was the runner-up in Miss Northern Ireland. I think, yep, that is you. That is your level. George Best, Miss World. Keith Gillespie, runner-up Miss Northern Ireland.
But yeah, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about Keith Gillespie and Neymar for some reason today. Like the margins. How many people play football? How many? Like the difference between being. Was Keith Gillespie in the top 500 footballers in the world at one point of his life? Probably. And Neymar is in the top 5, we'll say, for a good portion of his life. The margins just must be so razor thin at that point in that kind of rarefied air, you know? But yeah, it's like at the start of this book, he's playing for Longford Town. Now, if your accent is anything to go by, I assume your geography of Ireland... It's not great. Longford would be, kind of one of the kind of smaller counties. I'm from Carlow. Carlow and Longford are both kind of forgotten, kind of smaller, overlooked places. And he's playing football there because of his financial travails. I can't imagine what a fucking prick he was to all the people he was playing with. If he's anything like he was to the people he played with at Sheffield United, Bradford, Leeds when he went on trial and stuff like that. He must have been some prick to these guys at Longford. But yeah, he was big. So he came from Northern Ireland. He was a United fan. His dad was a big Manchester United fan. He went over very young. He was spotted very young, and he was part of this class in '92. And we have all that stuff with, Beckham, the Nevilles, Scholes, Squeaky Ben Thornley, who weirdly keeps coming up on this podcast, and Robbie Savage.
But yeah, so he goes over to Manchester United. First of all, he calls out his headmaster at school. Because apparently the assistant headmaster at his school was a paedophile, and the headmaster covered that up. It's like, imagine sleeping with that at night, he says. Imagine sleeping with that knowledge. Evil headmaster.
This is all because the fellow wouldn't let him play football, right? It was a rugby school. So he manages to put into his book that he was defending a paedophile because he wouldn't let him play football.
If he's got an axe to grind, he's going to grind that axe. Like, it doesn't matter who. And everybody's named as well. Like, everybody's named. There's none of that.
No, that's not true. The one point, he says he slept with the daughter of a Manchester United legend. But he doesn't name the Manchester United legend.
Coward. This is another one of those football books which just has the shittest names of chapters, and it's got the pictures with the shitty captions. Having a ball, chapter 2. For God's sakes, can no one just call it chapter 2? It's so bad. Joining the party. That's like his time with stepping up. He's joining the United Academy. It's so shit. And then the picture captions. Awful. Just absolutely awful. Golden feet. Boot deals were just one of the financial perks I enjoyed. Who cares? Like, sheer madness. A light-hearted moment in training, but I squared up to Alan Shearer on a wing and a mare. Head boy. What's he doing when he's head boy? Is he heading ball? Yeah. Fucking rubbish. Just don't put them in. It's fine. Just describe the pictures. You don't need a little caption. Anyway, okay. So, well, that's why I brought up the chapter. So he goes to Newcastle, and that chapter is called £7 Million Man. You weren't the £7 million man, Keith. You were a make weight in that deal. Andy Cole was a £7 million man. Why doesn't he call that chapter make weight?
So Cole went for 6 million plus Gillespie, who was valued at 1, right? And Gillespie had scored for United against Newcastle, which was a really nice goal. Do you remember that goal by any chance?
I don't.
He kind of carried it a little bit and had a strike at the edge of the box. It was a really nice goal for a young player. By the way, as you said, he has a go at everyone except the class of 92. He is very careful not to have a go at the class of 92 because he's thinking somewhere down the line, I might get some, money spinning opportunity with those boys, and I do not want to be in their bad books. At every turn, David Beckham, he is a gentleman. They're the fellas that he kind of ring fences them and Fergie.
Yeah, well, that's it. Anyone who's got a higher status than him, then he is very, very deferential. But anyone who's got a slightly lower status than him, then it's knives out, isn't it?
This is what I like about the book. He has such little digs at people all along. David Ginola, a preening little priss. Shearer doesn't like Ginola, and that's why he was frozen out by Dalglish. That's the kind of stuff I enjoy. Pettiness. That's what I want to see in a book. Pettiness.
Oh, and you've got it. You've got it.
But yeah, there's nothing major to report about his time at Manchester United. All the stuff you hear about Ferguson, took an interest in him, knew his name, knew his parents' name, and took him for dinner. That's the stuff you always hear about Ferguson, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's always the same. And he's not got a bad word for him, not at all.
Did I ever tell you this? I must have said this before. My friend's dad worked in the Waterford Crystal Factory in Ireland, in Waterford, and Ferguson was over on some golf jolly. And he did a tour of the Waterford Crystal Factory. And he met my friend's dad. I think my friend's dad was maybe Tony. And later that evening, Tony was in the golf club and there was Ferguson. And at one point, Tony went to the Jacks and he passed Ferguson. And Ferguson said, "Hi, Tony." Like, that is fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it? Like, but I don't think you should forget, Johnny, how unpopular Ferguson was at the time. We look back now, lovely cuddly Alex, but at the time we all hated him. Yeah, I mean, good football manager, right? We're not knocking it. Yeah, and if he was on your side, you just loved him so much, right? I mean, that's always.
I don't know if United fans had much affection for Ferguson. He's like just, when we lived in Cambodia, Hun Sen was the leader. People didn't really love him; they kind of feared him. It's a bit like that, I think, with Ferguson. He's that kind of despotic kind of ruler,
Well, I mean, he's not cuddly, is he? I mean, you look at Bobby Robson, you think lovely. Look at Kevin Keegan, come here, give me a cuddle. You don't look at Fergie and think, that'll be a nice cuddle. Just be like, keep that red nose away from me. He's going to shout at me soon, isn't he?
But did you know that Gillespie was such a bad boy? He's got such a bad boy reputation.
No, I didn't. But he doesn't think he is a bad boy, does he? He thinks he is just a normal footballer. But man, all his actions, I just can't help but feel he totally squandered his career. Right at the start, he's like, no vegetables and no eggs for me. What are you eating, lad? He's just eating like bacon sandwiches every day, washed down with pints.
But he has a bad boy reputation, he says, but he deserves a bad boy reputation. He's not a million miles from Dennis Wise in his behaviour, but he doesn't have that reputation. He doesn't have Dennis Wise's reputation. Like, Dennis Wise had the incident with the taxi driver, right? But Keith Gillespie had an incident with a fella Keith Gillespie had an incident with a fella in a club who, of course, he says it was unprovoked, la la la. But he also had an incident with a Newcastle fan who came home to find Keith Gillespie sleeping in his children's bedroom after he'd been sleeping with the man's wife, and then they started fighting as the man came into the house with his children, who had pictures of Gillespie on the wall. Now that alone makes this a good book. That story, that was astonishing stuff.
Yeah, it's wild. That's it. Yeah, he heard someone coming in. The chick's like, "Oh, it's my husband," so he runs off to hide in the kid's bedroom. I don't know. Is that a good idea? Oh,
But yeah, okay. He plays for Manchester United and he goes to Newcastle. That's the stuff we know. I guess it's it's all the other bits we didn't know. The stuff that comes later. And he does well in Newcastle, right? And he was there for that really amazing period. And as you say, he loved Keegan. Other than Michael Owen, everybody loves Keegan.
yes. Which obviously says a lot more about Michael Owen than it does about Kevin Keegan, doesn't it? Like, yeah, being a lovely time, but he didn't have that long with Keegan, did he? And then it was, and basically, as soon as Keegan goes, that's the end of his top career, if you see what I mean. He's no longer at that point a real elite footballer. Yeah. At this point, he starts to ride in the bench, like he's dropped by Souness. But he's dropped by Hullet.
He's dropped by Hullet first. And Dalglish didn't really fancy. I don't think, because, okay, he talks about having a gambling problem. And obviously, he's a very severe gambling problem. But he is an absolute booze hound, this lad. And I think from a manager's point of view, they could probably forgive the gambling. But the boozing, even by the standards of the 90s, he seems to have been quite a boozer. Like you say, the whole stuff about the Ireland squad in the 90s was that they were always getting drunk, and this is what Roy Keane had such beef with them about. But he makes the Northern Ireland squad out to be like they're just falling around the place wherever they go.
Yeah, and if a manager tries in any way to curtail that, it's like, they just don't get it, do they? They don't just get it. Our little country, we do well when we go out boozing. I mean, we don't do well because we never, ever qualify for anything, but they don't understand that's the way. It's like, you're not having success, so maybe you could try something different. But as I said at the top of the show, anybody who tries to stand in the way of Keith Gillespie and his pint is a total fucking arsehole. And he expects your sympathy as the reader as well, doesn't he? He's like, I can't believe what this manager was saying. Am I right? Am I right? It's like,
yeah,
the manager was right.
But this is the thing. I think Keith Gillespie, and I think this book is really interesting because this guy lived just an amazing life for 10 years and just believed that it would go on forever. And it didn't because of his own attitude, you know. And, okay, he got stiffed by his friend. And it's pretty terrible stuff, but it's hard. I find it very hard to feel sorry for him.
Oh, I have zero sympathy, Johnny. Zero sympathy. And yeah, the thing that really stuck out to me is like when he did start like falling down the pecking order of managers, at any point does he think, what could I do to be better? How can I improve? No, he never does. He's like, oh, where can I go where I'll get paid a lot? What can I do? And he's happy with all of his moves because he always gets a pay rise, but he's always slipping down the ladder. He was happy to go to Newcastle because he got more money. And then he was happy to go to Blackburn because he got more money. And then he eventually ended at Sheffield United and he was happy with that because he got more money. But all the time he's slipping down the pecking order. He's becoming a worse and worse footballer and he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, absolutely. He likes Warnock, even though Warnock absolutely stiffed him for with his contract. That's and he seems quite gullible, doesn't he, Gillespie? Because he signs a contract before he talks to his agent, and he had one agent who was really terrible, and then he got another fella who he could kind of trust. But yeah, he just seems like he was drunk for most of the 90s, and people were taking advantage of him.
Well, he's dim, and he is a bit dim. He just he's not the brightest.
He knows the origins of the expression "Bob's your uncle," which I've already forgotten. So, kudos to Keith.
Yeah, me too. It was some old British thing, wasn't it? Like, but yeah, he's just a funny character. But oh man, these managers, like, yeah. So here's one. He's on a bus. He's on a bus with the Northern Ireland squad, and someone's nicked Johnny Evans' passport. Right, Johnny Evans has lost his passport. An FA Island apparatchik comes in. It's like, oh, somebody told me you've got his passport. No, says Keith. But by this time, he's pissed him off with that accusation. 5 minutes later, he's up. He's got the bloke in a headlock, and beating him up. It's like, what was his crime exactly, Keith? Oh, he asked if you'd got Johnny Evans' passport. It's like, I fucking can't stand this, man. Fight. Yeah, he doesn't have the reputation of wise because he was a placid character on the pitch, wasn't he, on the whole? But off the pitch, the lad loves a fight because he's so drunk all the fucking time.
Yeah, he's got serious. He's just real. I just got the impression he was such a spoilt individual, such an entitled little fucker. But yeah, there's a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of fun stuff here. He got in a fight with Sheeran Dublin. Sheeran knocked him out. Wasn't impressed by Stuart Pearce, by the way, Al. Shouting at Keith Gillespie in a training match to impress the assembled crowd who were watching this training. What did you think of that? You're showboating hard, man. Stuart Pearce, fake psycho.
It did annoy me, to be honest. It did a little bit. Who the fuck are you to tell Stuart Pearce? But he does this all the time. He's always calling out people in training and saying something really snide and then being surprised when people don't like him.
Yeah.
And again, I would say being disliked by Keith Gillespie is not really a bad thing.
Over the years, I came to the conclusion that, Ferguson got a song out of players like Fletcher and Nicky Butt. And, take Butt, for example, when he left United, he didn't do a whole pile, did he, at Newcastle? And he didn't like Phil Neville at Everton or whatever. So you would think that he could have gotten something out of Gillespie, but he didn't want to keep him. And I wonder, did Ferguson just think, no, this guy's not for me?
I would absolutely say that. Yeah, he seemed to give him up pretty quick, and he probably can see the beginning of the big boozer, which is exactly what he didn't want in his squads at that time, right?
You could see how anyone would fall into that trap. Of course, we're both fond of a drink ourselves, Al, but yeah, it's such a shame, really, isn't it, to have that. If he had the reputation of being the next best, okay, right, not in the boozing sense, but in terms of his skill, it's terrible for him to just fucking squander things like that. I think it's terrible. He says at one point, early enough in the book, people ask me, am I envious of the class of 92 stuff? He said, no, I'm just so happy, blah, blah, blah. But that's bullshit. He must be really, really, he must be absolutely raging because he should have been part of that group, or he should be.
Yeah, but he's absolutely not. And on top of that, the game's got nothing for him now. I looked what he's doing. This book was written in 2013, so 13 years ago. What's he done since then? He's been accused of harassing his ex-wife. I mean, that's it. He's done nothing else. He's still playing at 50 for a mental health charity or something. But he has done nothing. There's no. I mean, does he pop up on Irish TV or something? No. He's just no status in the game whatsoever now. He's disappeared. He is a forgotten man.
Yeah, it's a shame for him. Okay, he went, as you say, he was at Newcastle. They nearly won the league and they didn't. We know all that. And then he was going to go to Middlesbrough, but then Freddie Fletcher planted a story about him being injured in the press to prevent him from joining Middlesbrough, which I kind of thought was a pretty sneaky little move, obviously. And then he joined Blackburn, but he does give you a lot of money information. Talks a lot about money. Joined Blackburn for 2.3 million. He got 11 grand a week and an 850k signing on fee, which I think was parceled out over the course of 4 years, the period of his contract. And he talks a lot about how much he got, and he got a lot of money. To be a bit part kind of footballer in the 90s. People always talk about, footballers now the footballers then must be raging and they're kind of missing the money that the fellas are getting now. But they were getting crazy money, man. Crazy money.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's it. He may have missed today's, but he certainly didn't get the 80s money, where people were like, he's on £1,000 a week, the fucking spoiled bastard. I mean, this lad was, loaded. And there's one point where he's like, after all my deductions and my rent, I only had 13 grand a month to live on. That's not a lot with a kid. It's quite a lot. Yeah, you should be all right with £13,000 a month in Britain 20 years ago. You should have been all right with that. But no, he's like, well, that's not a lot to live with. How can I get by on that? It's like, well, don't fucking jizz it away gambling. So the gambling very quickly, just loves the horses. He wasn't a gambler. He went to a Ladbrokes one day to place a bet for someone else. And as anyone who's been into a betting shop, who can't get enough of that? Oh, it's so great in there. Look at these disgusting old men who are vile. Wow, I love it in here. It's so exciting. I mean,
it's the tiny pencils. That's what kept them in there.
Tiny pencils and the smell of cigarette smoke. It's just, this is brilliant. Like, yeah, this is great. I can't get enough. But he could get enough. In fact, because he just wanted to gamble at home. It is depressing sounding, isn't it? It's so depressing. Just sitting in his little thing, ringing up his little bookie. Hello, put $4,000 on this. And there was one particularly bad day where he just kept putting $4,000 bets, losing every time. He lost $50,000 in a day.
Yeah.
Michael Owen wouldn't even sniff at that. Michael Owen would be like, pathetic amount of money to lose. I'll lose a lot more. I'm proud of it.
Never did it for me, the gambling.
I mean, winning's nice, but I just don't have the money to lose, mate. I just don't.
Well, winning is lovely, but then you win and you think, I will continue to win. And then you lose a few times and you're like, this is terrible. This is terrible. I'm going to stop.
It is funny, the mentality of gambling, because I'm like I just go and stick like $100 on a roulette wheel, red or black, always red. And when it doesn't come in, it's like, what? Glitch? What? How? What? But gambling's a funny old thing, John. I admire gamblers. I admire that, like, just like, fuck it, start again. It's like that Rudyard Kipling quote, to lose all. Actually, I'm not going to do a Rudyard Kipling quote. The game of coin and toss, hoop and toss. Oh, yeah, I can't remember it. But I do admire gamblers, but not Keith Gillespie. Not Keith Gillespie. No, I don't admire him at all.
But then when he joined for, like, this kind of typical kind of stuff that happened to Gillespie, he was stiffed by his agent when he did this Blackburn move. The agent kind of told him that he was going to get charged this amount of tax. But then when he was billed, he got somehow kind of double billed. And it just seemed like everybody knew that he could really put a fast one on Keith. Everybody seemed to know. By the way, he was at Blackburn, so he joined Blackburn when they were in the period after they won the league, so they still have a lot of the big players. Jason Wilcox, he cared, man. Jason Wilcox, Manchester United, whatever he is, Sporting something, Apparatchik. Chris Sutton, on the other hand, didn't give a shit.
He knew he'd be playing in the top division next season, so he didn't care. Whereas young Keith, by that point, knew full well he would not be playing in the top division next year. He just sinks so fast, right? It's just like 5 years previous, he'd been one of the hot prospects, and now he's getting relegated with Blackburn, and he knows there's no way up from a Premier League team. He knows that no one's going to come in for him. Because he knows deep down inside that he's a massive boozer and doesn't give a shit. He just doesn't care.
So, soon as Odd would come into the canteen wearing a towel and dress shoes and eat his lunch, which, if that is true, is pretty mental. And Keith points out, if he took the time to put on his shoes, why didn't he put on his trousers? Okay, fair enough there, Keith. Rude Hudded, also Odd. We kind of get that all the time, right? Even though I think Dennis Wise liked Hudded. But then, Al, why don't we get on to the topic of sex? Because this book has a lot of sex. Because he said that he wants the sympathy of the reader. And he's a bit of a love rat, Keith, it seems. But he's like, look, man, I was a footballer and that's just the way it is. Okay, that's probably true, but it's not as sympathetic. Like, you're not going to get sympathy either when that's your line, you know?
No, right. I mean, he has a kid with one woman, then moves on to the next real fast. Like, and there's no contrition about that in the writing at all. It's just like, oh, we'd run our course, and now there's some other horny young wag ready for me. So obviously, I banged that. Of course, I did. What did you think I was going to do?
As a footballer, everybody was doing it, but he does say so. But this was astonishing. So Gary Flitcroft's father committed suicide, and this Flitcroft reckons was on the back of Flitcroft getting a lot of abuse, as a result of infidelities. Like he was getting a lot of abuse from the terraces because there was a story about him having an affair. That is tragic stuff.
Well, absolutely. I remember that Super Injunction story because there was like, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Oh, it's Gary Flitcroft. Who fucking cares? I mean, like, Jesus, take me front page. Love rat Gary Flitcroft. I mean, like, even if you're a quite keen football fan, does he play for Blackburn? Oh, he does play for Blackburn. Yeah, who gives a shit, Gary? That's Streisand effect, right? Quickly, no, don't let that get out. Don't let that get out. Like, don't let. Shh. Can't let Gary Flitcroft's good name go to waste. Like, no one cares, Gary. Just shush. You're fine.
Am I right in saying that Gary Flitcroft was sent off like 3 minutes into his Blackburn debut? Is that correct? I
don't know, Johnny. I don't know.
I have a recollection of that. But then there's this. Did you know this La Manga stuff with Gillespie and Paul Dickoff?
Well, this was my favourite chapter. And seeing as it... So this is, this is a very famous case where Leicester City footballers were accused of rape by...
Which team was that, Al? Do you want to just say that one more time?
Yeah, what is it with Leicester City and tours? Remember they went to Bangkok and they were all getting rims and like putting it on Instagram? You fucking idiots.
Did you say rims?
They're getting rimmed, right? They were. That was a big thing. It was like the manager's son was like, oh, I'm getting rimmed right now. Like, this is great. Better stick it on Instagram. What? People don't like this. All right. So, yeah. So the Leicester... I mean, the La Manga story is famous. But I think I did get a bit confused. I was sure Stanley Collymore was involved, but...
Like, La Manga is in my head. I knew something happened in La Manga, but I had no idea. So Paul Dickoff, Frank Sinclair and Keith Gillespie are accused of rape. And according to Gillespie's account, there was, I guess, sex workers in the hotel. And one of them slept with Stefan Freund. Frank Sinclair got a blowjob, and that came out later. But Gillespie obviously says that this whole thing was total bullshit. And in the end, they were exonerated. But as he said, once that thing has happened, any amount of, libel cases, and you're not going to claw that back. And interestingly, Dickoff goes straight back into the Leicester team afterwards. But Gillespie never really recovers, does he?
Well, first of all, let's just talk about how much he's prepared to throw other people under the bus in this thing. It's absolutely wild. Like, first of all, it was like, oh, we've been accused of rape. But then it's like, Stefan Freund did have sex with one of these women. So he writes, Stefan was fucked. It was his matter to sort out. And then he was like, a rape suspect. Well, if there's going to be a rape suspect, number 1, Frank Sinclair. Number 2, Frank Sinclair. Number 3, Frank Sinclair. Fucking hell, throw him under the bus or what?
Yeah, he does make Frank Sinclair sound like a total scumbag.
He really does.
And Frank Sinclair is married at this point.
But obviously was out loving it all the time. Yeah. There was another funny thing where he describes his lawyer, his Spanish lawyer. She had lovely long brown hair. Lovely long brown hair. He likes describing women's hair. I think he does it like 3 times in the book. My lawyer, Anna, came along. She had lovely long brown hair. Right. Paints a picture. Thank you, Keith. That's nice. And when they were sent to prison, they were in prison for 6 days, which he writes as if he's fucking like Nelson Mandela, like The Long Walk to Freedom. Like, the truth would out one day. I knew it. They all smoked. In 2004, this was. All of the players in prison smoked. So, like, that was their currency. People were bringing them cigarettes. And they played Pac-Man all day. Hello, Spanish prison. Just a bit of Pac-Man and some cigarettes. Doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah, he says that the initial dungeon, as he calls it, the cell that they went to when they were arrested was worse than the prison itself. But yeah, God, what a fucking miserable experience. But anyway, he was exonerated and he sued the various British red tops who had obviously jumped all over this news story. And then he says, with the Flitcroft thing as well, he seems to, does he say it straight out, or he kind of implies that Flitcroft was wondering how they got this information and what's the name of that fucking scandal where they were wiretapping all the, he certainly seems to think that Flitcroft's phone was you imagine the fellas in the newsrooms? You know what we should do? We should tap Gary Flickroft's one.
All right, so we've got Prince Harry. There we are. Who else? Gary Flickroft. Good. That's another. Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, he got £115,000 payout from the Red Top. That wasn't enough though, because now he couldn't get another club, and he's like, oh, this time last year I was earning £700,000 a year. Now I'm earning like 48 grand. It's like, I don't know if it's because of the rape. It's because you're shit at football, mate. That's why.
Yeah, like absolutely. We know in football, if someone is very good, those accusations, if someone's been exonerated, the clubs will move on. Like you said, Dickoff went straight into the team. At one point, he's paid 87 grand by Sheffield United to leave. Like, I think when you stop being good at football and you're like that, everyone's like, it's just, no, fuck that guy.
And he really is a fuck that guy kind of guy. He really is. I can see it if you're a manager. He's just a pain in the arse. He's not a team player. He's all about himself.
Well,
he's the worst.
I think he's got a real chip on his shoulder, having been close to real greatness. And as you said, having done nothing to maintain that. Like all those fellas like Neville and Beckham, they were very serious, right, about their craft. You'd always hear about Beckham, he says it in this book, Beckham would always be out there training and practicing his free kicks. Gary Neville was stone mad for whatever, physical activity and all the rest of it. And now Keane was a boozer in his day, but he knocked it on his head very quickly, obviously, and he's famously quite serious about his sport as well. But yeah, Gillespie just did nothing to stay at that level.
Well, because you have a class of 92, it's like, Keith, do you want to stay back for 10 minutes to practice some crossing?
Fuck off.
Fuck you. Who the fuck are you telling me I can't go and get a drink right now? Who the fuck?
Yeah, I think being very good at a very young age must do that to a lot of people. And the people who maybe, like your Beckhams and stuff, are maybe probably unusual for being able to maintain that. You know, you're saying about him throwing people.
Pettiness. Sorry, go. Just the pettiness. Kevin Blackwell at.
I was just going to talk about the pettiness.
So again, this is it. He's assuming our sympathy. He's opening up a chapter, and he's texting Kevin Blackwell after he's left Sheffield United from a burner phone. How's your small man syndrome going? Who's this? How's my small man syndrome? Well, that'll be Keith Gillespie for sure. The wanker. He's like, was it childish? Sure, but it made me channel my energies in the right way by sending wanky texts to an old manager. Oh, and also he's like, he's in his face. He's like, how could I respect this man who played for Bury 20 times? Like, this piece of shit. He's not as good as me.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a shocker.
He says, this is him talking to Kevin Blackwell. I'll call Brian Robson and tell him that you criticised him. Steady on, Keith. Brian Robson. You know, he was England captain. He didn't play for Bury, man. Yeah, it's.
I'm going to get my big brother, Brian Robson. He's going to come around and beat you up, Kevin Blackwell. How are you going to like that? And here's an exchange. You're a wanker. You're a fucking wanker. You're an egg. You're a fucking egg. Very childish, I admit. Yeah, it was. Yeah, very good. Very childish.
But yeah, that's it. It kind of just peters out for Keith, doesn't it? He plays for Bradford for a while. He went to Leeds for a couple of trials. Yeah. And he ends up back in Northern Ireland. And he has to keep playing. You say he's playing now when he's 50 years old. He has to keep playing because he has no money, and he's lost his money in various get rich quick schemes that didn't work out for him. So
he was involved in that film financing scheme, and I think a lot of footballers fell to that. I remember Craig Bellamy did.
Certainly Darren Peacock. Certainly Darren.
What's he doing now? But yeah, that's it. A lot of these footballers can get, as he says, like lucrative management gigs, but that's not happening for you, is it, Keith? It's just not. He does nothing now. He does nothing at all. I looked him up. He doesn't do anything.
But a lot of these guys who are kind of boozers, and when they fall to earth, it must be really, really quite astonishing and quite jarring, But some of them seem to be able to straighten themselves out and become coaches or whatever. And you don't have to be Pep Guardiola to be making good money in football.
No, quite right. But yeah, it just seems like he's got nowhere to turn. As you say, he tries to keep the Manchester United connection open, but he's not really associated with Manchester United, is he? Other than the class of '92, but no more than say your Ben Thornleys or your Chris Caspers.
Yeah, how many times did he play for United? Did he play more than 20 times, do you think?
No, I think it was 9 times, 1 goal.
Yeah, you're
9 games for United, 1 goal. He played like 111 games for Newcastle, 9 goals. He was just much, much more mediocre than I thought he was. I really thought he was one of the great talents, and he very much was not.
Yeah, he played it 86 times for Northern Ireland. Only 2 goals, can you imagine? But yeah, he's played for a lot of clubs. Newcastle, Blackburn, Wigan, Leicester, Sheffield United, Charlton, Bradford, Glentoran, Darlington, Longford Town, and FC Mindwell, who don't even have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, this FC Mindwell is this mental health football club. How does that work? I used to be depressed, but now I support FC Mindwell. And I go and watch Keith Gillespie, and I'm in a great mood all the time.
Well, I guess they raise money, maybe, which is fair play to him if that's what he's doing. In Keith's
Yes, I shouldn't be flippant about mental
because I
health.
think he does. He says he suffered from depression, right? Because I guess he lost all this money. Yeah, it is rough. It's quite rough. But again, it's hard to feel that sorry for him.
I don't feel sorry for him at all.
How do you think, in terms of the characters that we've come across? We had whiny Van Basten, we had psychotic Owen. Where would you put a Keith Gillespie in the rogues gallery that is football?
Yeah, I don't know. He's got a real teenage vibe, like spoilt child vibe. Just like, I cannot believe this was happening to me after I behaved badly. Oh, it's unbelievable. Oh, I did all these bad things and now there are consequences. Oh, unbelievable. He is a whiner and he feels sorry for himself, and I don't much admire him.
Yeah, and I think the book is good for like, while the protagonist himself is pretty horrible, the book is interesting for those reasons. But yeah, you said before that addicts, they stop maturing at the age that they fall into their addiction, and Gillespie does seem like someone who never really grew up. So
yeah, that's it. They said I think he says he had his first bet when he was 20. And that sounds about exactly right. He remains a 20-year-old, like a horny 20-year-old, and that's all he ever is. He's all about partying, nothing about self-improvement.
Yeah. I wonder, like, for players like that now who are coming into this totally different kind of professionalized atmosphere, are the outcome the chances of a better outcome much higher? Because, yeah, I guess he didn't have the tools in Keith's defence.
No, he didn't. He had some opportunities, eh? There was the one time where Terry McDermott came to him when he was at Newcastle and tried to talk about his gambling, but he hid it away. And if he'd been able to say at that point, then maybe he could have avoided some, a lot of this unpleasantness that comes across subsequently. But he doesn't. He just makes the wrong move at every time.
Yeah, so the one that got away, I think, Keith Gillespie.
Yeah, I just don't think you could have that lifestyle now and be a professional footballer. I can't imagine there's, I don't know, Jack Harrison at Leeds is out on a bender on a Wednesday night getting absolutely hammered.
Smoking fags.
I mean, that's wild, isn't it? It's just I mean, they knew back then that was not good for them as athletes. It's only 20 years ago. It's not like cigarettes have only just recently become up as bad for you. Yeah, every move he made was wrong. Every move.
Yeah. Okay, so what would you give this book? Sorry, just to say, there's a bunch of stuff about Northern Ireland, but really, I'm from Ireland. I really care about Ireland. Northern Ireland don't really give a shit.
Well, he sort of intimates that they could never have more success than he had, but they then subsequently do go on to have more success and qualify for a tournament. So wrong again, Keith.
Yeah, would players know better? Arguably worse, because they had quite a few Premier League players at that point.
No, there's some decent players, but yeah, it was just a big jolly. They said they had like 2 Latvia and Iceland, and they were just drunk every night. And then he was absolutely outraged. And Nigel Worthington suggested they didn't go and get drunk, like furiously angry. Nigel just doesn't understand. He's too boring. We need to go out and get hammered and then lose to both Latvia and Iceland. It's the Northern Irish way.
He says we were going somewhere in Iceland and we had to stop. We had to stop on 3 flights or something. So it was only the bars that would keep us going, you know. Yeah, he's really spoiled. He's a really spoiled little baby man.
He really is.
Anyway, okay, well, we were quite harsh on poor old Keith. He suffers from depression, so hopefully he never ever listens to this.
Well, I think you should listen to it. And I think you should take a long, hard look in the mirror and say, what can I do to improve myself so I could be like these two fine lads on this podcast? If only I was more like them.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know. I would never write a book where I blame everyone else for my failures. It just seems so nuts.
It's absolutely fucking amazing to me that he could sit down and write this and then think, yeah, this is fine. People will be on my side. It's incredible, right? Just the absolutely breathtaking arrogance of it. Just the entitlement, I suppose.
Well, that is the entitlement. Going back to Northern Ireland and the cock sandwich we were talking about earlier, there's a bit where Jerry Taggart calls down an air hostess and says, "Is this meant to be in my sandwich?" And he's pulled out his penis and flashes at an air hostess, an innocent air hostess. What did she do? And then Laurie McMenemy's like, well, that's absolutely unacceptable. You're out of the team. He's so angry about this. He's so angry. He's like, oh, Laurie McMenemy doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. He's old school. This is what we need to do. We have to sexually harass like air stewardesses in order to play good football. And it's like, no, Laurie McMenemy wasn't out of time. It wouldn't be acceptable now, and it wasn't acceptable then. Come on. But he's furious at Laurie McMenemy for dropping Jerry Taggart. Oh, we could have won if it wasn't for Jerry Taggart getting his penis out, showing it to an innocent woman, and then being dropped. Yeah, beggars belief.
Yeah, it is incredible. And when did you, what year did you say this book was? 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing, really. Anyway, okay, I would give this 3.5. 3.5. But the funniest story in the book was when he was sleeping in that child's bunk bed. So I'm going to give it 3.5 bunk beds.
3.5 bunk. Yeah, it's a very easy read. I rattled through it in about 4 hours, I think.
Yeah, well, I don't read as quickly as you, which is why I usually do audiobooks. But yeah, even by my standards, it really brings me to the wire to get through a book in 2 weeks if it's anyway dense, you know.
All right, I've just got one more thing. So the picture captions. There is one picture of Keith Gillespie, Paul Dickoff, and Frank Sinclair after having been released. And the caption is, innocent men. Now, you're not going to be able to see this, listeners, but look at the picture of the innocent men. They don't look very fucking innocent, do they? If that picture had been captioned convicted rapist, I would have been like, yep, sounds about right.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much, Al. We are back next with, what's it called?
Looky Likeys, right? 5-side draft of Looky Likeys.
Yeah, and we have the Once in a Lifetime, the book about the cosmos.
All right, lovely stuff. Okay, so we'll see you all next week. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah, thank you very much, Al, and thank you, folks, for listening. Please do give us a rating of 5 stars, 5 bunk beds, if you get the opportunity.
Yeah, lovely reviews as well. Thank you so much.
Leving takes it. Dowie comes short. Oh, it could go! Marvellous goal by Keith Gillespie. 4 minutes gone. Second cap tonight for Keith Gillespie, the 19-year-old from Manchester United. And what a start for Northern Ireland. And what a superb goal.
Last question. Thank you very much indeed.